I agree with you that misinformation is leading to vaccine hesitancy, and I think probably the largest area of misinformation is actually coming from the government regarding natural immunity. There's actually dozens and dozens of peer-reviewed articles on natural immunity. The natural immunity is robust. A study from Washington University School of Medicine just recently says mild infection with SARS-CoV-2 induces a robust antigen-specific long-lived humoral immune memory in humans. Cleveland Clinic study, 50,000 employees, showed that those who had had the disease previously had the same, if not better, immunity than those who'd been vaccinated. If we deny this and we say, stick your head in the sand, everybody be vaccinated, don't worry your pretty little head about whether you've had it or not, we don't do any testing, we have lots of ways of testing for immunity, guess what? The people are going to have hesitancy because they think you're not telling them the truth, which is true. That isn't the truth. We do know that you get robust immunity from this. We also know that even taking conservative estimates from the CDC, that about 100 million people have had this. How do we know that? 34 million people have tested positive, but even the most conservative antibody surveys show that at least 2 people for every 1 that got it also had it. That's 100 million people. And so if we discount that, we say, oh, we're never getting to herd immunity. You have all these articles saying, we'll never make it, we'll never make it. We don't have enough people vaccinated, but then we say, oh, we got to go harder. Now we're going to go for the 10-year-old, then the 5-year-old, then we're going to go for the 2-year-old, then we're going to say, oh, you can't leave the hospital until you're vaccinated. People are going to be hesitant because they don't believe you. And they don't believe that the risk of the disease in children anywhere equates to adults. Over 65, it's at least 1,000 times more dangerous. The death rate under 25, about 1 in a million. If you combine natural immunity with vaccine immunity, Dr. McCary of Johns Hopkins estimates that 80 to 85% of adults have immunity, and that we have reached herd immunity. Yet the government insists on discounting or really not counting at all the millions of individuals who have acquired natural immunity. This scientific error causes the government to believe that we haven't gotten there, that we have to go harder and harder and harder. There are reports of myocarditis. It isn't decided yet. We're in the means of talking about this, and if we just say blithely, go take your vaccine, don't think about this, that's not good medicine. We should think about it. I don't know what the risk is. It may turn out that it's 1 in 10 million. And then by all means, I'd say go. If you're over 65, I say without question, the vaccine is way safer than the disease. But I can't say that with surety for a 10-year-old. I really can't say that. I also can't say that we haven't reached herd immunity and that we're pushing so hard on the kids that we might do damage to children with this. It's an unknown question. The science is not completely done on children. They're discussing it this week. How frequent is myocarditis? We don't know that. If it's 1 in 100,000, and the chance of myocarditis in the normal population is 1 in a million, I would probably say you ought to think twice about it. But another way to do it is we could test the children. We could test the adults. If they have antibodies, let them make a choice. Let them make an intelligent choice. Some people will still choose to be vaccinated. But we are so adamant, get the vaccine, don't think about it, that leads to hesitancy because people don't think we're following the science or that people who give that advice are following the science. So my question is, shouldn't previous infection be considered in the effort to push vaccination on our children?
Yes, I think previous infection should be considered. I also think that we need to understand that a previous infection is not as robust in protecting against new variants as the vaccine.
We actually don't know that. We actually don't know that. All of the testing on natural immunity and vaccinated has shown that we have great immunity, both with the vaccine and with natural immunity. The Delta variant that everybody's talking about, the vaccine is very good for it. So you see hysteria on TV. We're still driving this debate about the hysteria of the Delta variant. If you get vaccinated, there's a 96% chance you won't be hospitalized. The numbers are very similar for natural immunity too. This what if has been played, but it's just not true, and we're scaring people needlessly. We should study it honestly in a rational fashion and give people advice, but we shouldn't be pushing people, don't think about it, just take a vaccine. Dr. Bailey, failure to acknowledge natural immunity has led to the policy of indiscriminate vaccination. So when we do this, we divert the vaccine from those who truly need it. In India, getting to herd immunity may take a couple of years. 6,000 people were dying a day recently. And they're taking the advice of the government experts in our country that they should vaccinate everybody indiscriminately. In doing so, tens of thousands, if not millions of Indians will die because you're going to have millions of people who have already had it. If you could get the vaccine to those who need it more, you will save lives. It's the same way with diverting it to those over 65. In my community, in this country, we're giving it to young, healthy 28-year-old volunteer firemen. You know, that makes no sense at all. So do you think in countries like India, we should take into account whether you've had it to try to make the vaccine go farther so we could save lives?